Dun 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 dun. Here we go. Bing bing bing. I gotta make sure all the streams come up. YouTube starting. And oh, there we go. We got Twitch starting. And we're live. Well, I guess this is going to be an all Star Trek all the time episode of the Geek EZ. Something we don't do very often.
Ish.
Yay.
But let's get this going right off the bat, and we'll get into it. So we'll be back in 60 seconds.
The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about?
It's about nothing.
All right. We apologize for being a little bit late. We had to fill in one of our panel with what is going on with our.
It was me. It was me. It was.
Oh, yeah, we had to fill Jim in on the last episode, or the second episode of Discovery, because he had not seen it. So he gave him the Reader's Digest version, and that is why we are a little bit late starting the show. But
sorry, guys.
It's fine. No, it's all good.
Well, before we jump into that, because we're going to
Yes.
be probably chewing that all night.
Mm-hmm.
And since I wasn't here last time, thank you, Weather. Did you guys talk about the Kickstarter I mentioned to you before the show last week? About the
No, I don't think we did.
Starship Right.
I don't think we did.
Okay. Well, quickly run that down. I mean, it's all about ships and such, and it kind of ties into what we're going to be talking anyway. So there's a fella here by, I think his name's Jeff Zugale. I probably mispronounced that. He's got a Kickstarter, and it's about all of the various doodles and illustrations of starships that he's done, and he's getting a Kickstarter put together to actually publish a book of the stuff. And he's worked on a wide variety of projects, so he's definitely got a lot of experience. And his stuff looks really cool. That's why I figured you guys would dig it. Especially you, Adam.
Actually, it looks really cool.
And he's got 18 days to go. They're about, let's say, about halfway there. A little over halfway, I guess.
Cool. That is pretty cool. I dropped the link into the YouTube chat. I'll drop it in. Oh, and you dropped it in the Twitch. Rock on.
Yep, we're on top of this.
We're on top of
So,
it.
It's good stuff, and figured, hey, if anybody's interested, it's a nice project to put into it. I think he's still going to publish it regardless. It's just, this makes it easier for him.
Okay. Tank, you got the Twitch stream running on your end in the chat, right?
Yep.
Okay, you're going to be the eyes on that one. I'll be the eyes on the YouTube, because I'm sure as people start joining in on the conversation, hopefully, with Discovery, that it's going to get pretty verbal. Because Star Trek Discovery broke the internet more than Kim Kardashian's fat butt.
Although we can't show any footage because CBS hunts us down.
I have images. I can show images. I can't show footage. So I can show images on and off throughout the show, but I mean, it's basically just press images that have been released and things like that. Yeah, but I do not want to get nailed with another copyright, so because they really crack down on that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, they do, which it kind of stinks. It really does. But I'll throw up some stuff every once in a while. Like I can do this. I
Oh
can put
God,
that
put it away.
I can put your pants back on. Put your pants back. Where to start?
Nobody wants to see that.
Well, that's true. Nobody wants to. That's not true. A lot of people actually dig it. A lot of people didn't. I think we should probably just start off that before we actually dig into the nitty gritty of the show itself.
Start off with what?
So to start off with general reactions of folks, like, for example, artist Frank Cho, which he's been known for some little bit of notoriety. He posted about it. He said, "Finally saw the new Star Trek Discovery episode 1 and 2. It's dead on arrival for me." He said, and I'm just going to read what he said. "A lot of philosophical arguments to downright stupid and implausible decisions just killed any excitement for me. From the newly redesigned Klingons to the captain and the mutinous number 1 beaming down to lead a 2-man attack force, parentheses, shouldn't the captain just send the security force? I was bored and annoyed throughout the viewing." So that was, that's his reaction. I'm not saying that it makes it more superior to anybody's here, but just to give you an idea, there's a wide range of opinions.
Well,
that's the one I see.
One thing I want to point out is the very first thing about the whole philosophical stuff. Has he ever heard of Star Trek before?
I suspect he has, but I think it's the fact that it's how they were arguing it that probably annoyed him. At least that's just a guess.
I'm amazed at the reactions across social media and critics, and I'm guessing it's the opposite on, like, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes. I haven't been there lately. Somebody clue me in if I'm wrong. When I checked a few days ago, it had like an 86% critic rating, but only a 51% audience rating. When you flip that, when the Orville first came out, it had like a 25% critic rating, but like an 80% audience rating. So the audience seems to enjoy, say, the Orville, but Discovery has really split fandom even more than it's already been split over the past 2 years. And I'm sorry, we're gonna have to get into this. And I promised myself we wouldn't. And I've actually said it on the air, and we have made an agreement that we won't talk Axanar on this show. But it's a huge deal right now because a lot of people are comparing Discovery to Axanar and using Axanar as an excuse for reasons of not liking or not. I mean, all this stuff, I see it a lot as a monstrous amount. If you go through social media, a lot of people are coming out about the whole Axanar. It's like they stole stuff from Axanar, and this is why they sued Axanar.
No, they didn't.
Well, I think it's really funny.
You can't steal from yourself.
With one line in a canon television show. It is canon, folks. This is prime line canon. There are canon novels, which is really odd for Star Trek. There are 2 novels out now that are canon, or there's one out now and there's one that will be coming. Was it Dayton Ward wrote one, right? And David Mack wrote the other. And they are canon. They fit in the timeline. And I guess this episode takes place a year after The Cage would have been. And they explain in those books why the uniforms look different. They actually interact with the Enterprise crew in the books. So it's canon. There's no matter what. But in Discovery, Axanar, even though it might have been considered soft canon or whatever it was because of the way it was written into Star Trek history throughout the past, 50 years, they nullified it instantly by saying, we have not had any interaction with the Klingon for the past 100 years, which negates the 4-year war at Axanar, because it would have taken place before The Cage.
A lot of things actually that's taking place right at this particular time.
Yes.
It's, 2256?
Mm-hmm.
Kirk has currently got 1 year left in the Academy, and the Enterprise with Pike and Spock are out and about doing their thing.
Is not Bones already in Starfleet at this point, too?
I'm not sure when Bones, or Scotty for that matter,
I believe Bones is a late join because the whole JJ thing where he's running from his ex-wife is not a JJ thing at all. It's Star Trek original, at least in the novels.
Yeah. That might be where they got it for the JJ stuff.
We'll see. He was apparently studying medicine in or before 2245. 2251. He's, according to Memory Alpha, he led a massive inoculation program on a planet. 2253. He developed a surgical procedure, and somewhere in between there, apparently he enrolled in Starfleet.
Here's where you want Larry Nemechek on the show, because he is a Leonard McCoy scholar.
I don't know if we'll be able to get Larry now that he has his own show.
But by the way, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's up to 64% audience score.
Okay, that's still pretty low when you really think about it. Now,
it's not pretty low, because let's keep in mind that we are discussing Rotten Tomatoes.
That's true.
Honestly, I don't think it's that low, considering a lot of the negative reviews I think were posted before the show was seen by anyone other than critics.
Well, as we get into it, I know we have listeners on both YouTube and on Twitch. Feel free to chime in, because we're listening. I mean, we'd love to hear opinions on this, because there's only 5 of us, 6 of us, 5 of us. Who's in here today? I'm not even looking. It's 5 of us, right?
Yeah, 6 if you count Teletran, but
if you count Teletran, but Teletran doesn't count. Teletran just makes sure everybody can hear us.
Roland apparently decided to stay out.
Yes. We can go through. I mean, we kind of all watched it together, but not together, just on here on the internet. We watched the first 2 episodes, aside from Jim.
We all astral projected into Adam's house and watched it together.
Oh, hey, apparently Scotty has been in Starfleet 10 years prior to this point.
Oh, wow.
His career began 2241.
My wee patterns.
That doesn't sound right, but I'll just take your word for it.
Why? He's the oldest member of the crew.
It's true.
I thought Bones was the oldest member of the crew.
He's probably the actual oldest, but he wasn't the longest serving. I think that distinction remains with, with Spock and Scotty.
Okay, well, let's go through us and say our initial... I mean, let's get the conversation going. What do we think about it? We all sit there and go, I don't know.
Oh, I liked it. I mean, I can get why people didn't like it.
Yeah.
I can't get why people are hating it, other than the fact that, that the people... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this. The people who are hating on it right now, in 10, 12 years, I always loved Discovery.
Just like Enterprise, just like The Next Generation. Pardon me as I eat some popcorn, as I get ready for the comments.
For me right now, where I stand, it doesn't seem to fit yet. I'm trying to figure. It feels like it was shoehorned in me.
There are certain things about it I'm not keen on. I'm withholding overall judgment, but I did cancel the all access that I signed up for, because honestly, and this is just more economic / business, whatever. If you're gonna have a paywall up with the idea that people will be watching your stuff, this is the internet age, people. Netflix time period. I don't like the idea of being strung along to pay $10 extra on top of my usual, internet payments just to get an episode once every month. If you're gonna do that, give me the whole damn thing, and then we'll be good.
Right. That's where I'm at with this. I mean, if they were gonna put it all out there, then I would probably be willing to pay.
I've been willing to pay for that, take it for a month, whatever, and binge watch it, whatever. And if I really dig it, I probably would have come back. Right now, 2 episodes. There's some aspects, it definitely feels like Star Trek. I don't mind the theme. It's okay. There's a lot of beige. things though that I mean, the ships themselves, there's definitely a Federation feel to them. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the bridge, but oh my God, there's an awful lot of J.J. Kelvin verse to it.
Yeah, that bothers me too.
What our random Mexican American food flavored name person who shows up, whatever he seems to think, no, it's got a lot of JJ in it.
It does. And it's possible that is there because some people only know Star Trek from the JJ movies, the younger viewers and stuff.
It's certainly possible.
That's what this seems to be tailored toward. It really does.
I mean, I'm okay with it. There's a lot of little nods they snuck in there, and we can break that down later. But the thing that still annoys me the most is the Klingons. It just
that's my real only major complaint is the Klingons.
Yeah, even the ships. I mean, none of those ships look Klingon to me.
There were some that looked Raptor-like, but the overall whole aesthetic of them was not. No.
I saw Sona designs. I saw. There was nothing memorable. I mean, the Klingon ships are very. I mean, they established it. If you're going to keep this in the prime timeline, Enterprise had Klingon ships that were automatically recognizable as Klingon. They had Romulan ships that are automatically recognizable as Romulan. I think maybe a little too much, but
yeah, you still can tell.
They looked a little too futuristic for. It was one of those. How does that become that? Things for me when I see the bird of prey, the Romulan bird of prey from Enterprise compared to the one that Kirk goes up against. They look like it's like I don't know. Maybe it's more like 1950s to 1970s where everything got boxy. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem to flow. There's like a hiccup in that design, something or other. But the Klingon look all the way around, because we were told that the Klingons themselves, the way they look, is because they were an ancient class of Klingon, and everybody bought that. It was like, okay, that's kind of cool if this is an ancient ship with ancient Klingons. But then they established that this guy is not that old, that the ship is old, but not as old as they say it is, and that all the other Klingons look like him.
Yeah, all the High Council look exactly the same. It's like, okay, you're doing the whole. It's not Khan. It's not Khan. It's Khan.
Yeah, it was. That's. I mean, so that's like, okay, you're hitting that strike 2 for me on the Klingons. Do I mind a redesign? No, not really. I do, but I don't, because they've already established within the prime timeline stuff that there were ridged Klingons. They screwed up, then they became what we call the smooth forehead Klingons, and now all of a sudden they're not even just ridged Klingons; they are full on aliens with no explanation as to why all of a sudden this major drastic change in something that is supposed to take place at the exact same time as the cage, even though we don't know what the Klingons in the cage would look like. But we would assume that they would have smooth foreheads and they would wear like the gold things and everything. They wouldn't be all decked out the way they look. Again, we're 2 episodes into it. We haven't seen any other Klingons aside from what they have, 6 or 7 of the council members up there, and the main baddie in the what is the pilot to me, because that should have been a 2-hour pilot.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I said I had one major complaint, but that is my other. That is another major complaint, but that's not a story complaint. I felt like if they really wanted people to subscribe to All Access for to watch the show, then they should have ended on the cliffhanger that ends at in the episode 2, not the cliffhanger that ends on episode 1.
Yeah, that was a dick move, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, that's the only reason why I got All Access. Like, okay, I know we're going to be talking about it. I need to see this. I need to see how this ends.
Now, I don't have Amazon. I mean, I have watched it on my mother's Amazon. The Tick. I said I caught a couple of episodes of The Tick. I don't know if the whole season's available right off the bat. I know that Netflix has done it right. Marvel, they've proven that it is a working model. Shoot the entire season, have it ready to go, and upload the entire season. And you get your views, and people come back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Netflix isn't always doing that too. For example, they've done the entire season of Voltron, then split it in 2 seasons and released it 2 months apart.
Yeah, and that's a more of a recent development, and I don't care for that either. Mostly because I want to see the rest of it.
But I mean, The Punisher comes out later or in the middle of October, and it will be the entire season of The Punisher. And they're only doing what, 17 episodes of Discovery?
I have no idea. They are splitting it though.
They are splitting it again, and they're splitting it in January. So it's just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Sit here and pay you for what, November, December, to watch I Love Lucy reruns that I could watch on Lifetime or whatever it is?
Right.
I mean, even though it's kind of cool that they have, I mean, I was going through the list. I mean, I haven't canceled mine yet. I might watch this month. I might give it I might do my 30 days or whatever it is. And then I'll see if I want to keep it. If the show goes in ways I want to keep watching.
Apparently, I'm
If
still
just
until
a
the
war
26th.
story, if it really is just shoot 'em up, bang bang, I'm not going to watch this series.
No, we need to get into thoughtful and insightful, thought-provoking stuff, not just pew pew, bang bang, zoom zoom.
I do like that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Gonna lie, the main thing that I have watched on CBS All Access is Jag.
Come out of the 90s, man.
But Star Enterprise did the bang bang shoot 'em up first season. It was their worst season. It was the least watched season. Its ratings drops.
Is that first season?
Third.
Oh.
They did that whole Xindi arc. But even then, they had moral issues and stuff. And they did moral stories, and they did some commentary, social commentary stuff, and it was still Star Trek, even though it was the lowest rated season. And they finally revamped it, and the fourth season came and was so much better. It actually felt more like Star Trek. And then they canceled the show. But
right when it felt like it was starting to go somewhere.
Yeah.
For the most part, I didn't mind the Xindi arc. And I like what they got into, is like, because it was a lot of that, wrestling with, is this really the path we want to go down? Which Archer was doing. The whole revenge thing is like, no, this really isn't us. And so I think it tied in nicely once they moved it into the fourth season. The Nakul thing was a little odd, but but at least they put an end to the Temple Cold War thing.
And if you're going to do a bang bang shoot 'em up with all the moral stuff that goes with a war story, and people making choices that at times could be morally ambiguous and all, we've seen that already. We had 4 seasons of Deep Space Nine that did it.
Well, sure, but then again, it's not always going to be like, well, that's the only time it happens. No,
that's true, but
I
mean, I don't know. I'm really hoping that it goes in other directions. The fact that it is going to be very operatic and it's going to be very episodic is what they say. It's not going to be standalone stories. Kind of makes me go, so it's going to be 24 in outer space? It's just what I mean. It's just like it's The Walking Dead in outer space. Star Trek: The Next Generation worked on a single episode per or single story per episode kind of thing. It was fine, and they did do arcs here and there. I don't know if I want to sit and watch 17 episodes of a war story again. It better blow my skirt up in the next couple episodes, or I am going to cancel my subscription, and everybody else can go watch it and say, "Oh, it's so great, it's so great." And I'm like, are you saying that because you just missed Star Trek, or are you saying that because you really enjoy the show?
Well, I will say something. I watched a few minutes of After Trek, and I thought it was interesting. Frayne, the guy that played Sarek, was in studio, but when they brought the cast on, they were all in Toronto because they're still filming. Guess who was with the cast in Toronto?
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh. Yes. She was in Toronto with the rest of the cast.
No, they never said she died.
I would suspect there's going to be flashbacks.
Well, I think Burnham might be insane.
What?
I think that's a bit of a stretch off of 2 episodes.
What bothered me about Burnham was the fact that she had a more or less Vulcan upbringing, but she was so incredibly, overly emotional. I mean, she took nothing away from her upbringing on Vulcan. Absolutely nothing, except for a half-hearted neck pinch.
I got the impression that Georgiou spent the last 7 years breaking down her barriers.
That would be a safe assumption to make, I think. Because when she beams aboard the ship in episode 2, right, in a flashback? That was that episode 2?
Yes.
She's definitely like, all she needs is the pointed ears and done. And
I'm still trying to figure out. She's one of these characters they've given her backstory almost too much disaster. Her parents were apparently killed by Klingons. Then she almost dies in a separate attack on the Vulcan Learning Center. And it's just like, how much tragedy can one person go through?
Do we really want to answer that one? Because I can easily pull from history of a guy in Japan who survived both.
Yes, I know that. It's just, you'd think that they would just have it be one defining event instead of 2.
I think
it's
a little ham-fisted, yeah.
Maybe, but then again, if Klingons did both of them, then it kind of ties together if you think about it, because it's not just one event, it's just Klingons in general. You hate them kind of thing.
Well, and that was probably written in there to establish some kind of moral ambivalence on Michael's part, as far as, well, she's just acting this way because she hates Klingons.
I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and this is going to sound cliche because people have been upset about it for months. I'm still trying to give them a chance on the look of the Klingons, but I feel they were a little deceptive. They called them Crypt Klingons and let everybody think that they were like an ancient sect that had been separated, and then all the Klingons we saw looked like that. I did not like that. I don't like the new Klingon aesthetic we're seeing all that much. I don't know what was wrong with the old one. But I'm going to keep watching, I know that much, because I want to see what's going on with the actual... There's some sort of mystery on Discovery, and I want to see what it is.
Why is Jason Isaacs speaking with an American accent?
Because that's
I was
what they
wondering
wanted.
the same thing.
It's like when he speaks, he has a very nice British accent, and maybe they wanted to get away from having another British captain, but I was like, he's British. I was like, why is he speaking with an American accent?
Why was Michelle Yeoh playing a character named Philippa Georgiou?
I don't know.
I mean, it's the future.
I really hope she really isn't
matter.
dead, because I like Michelle Yeoh.
What, did she have French parentage? I mean, that was...
It's not unheard of.
I know, but look at Jean-Luc Picard.
I was
one of the most proper British gents you'd ever want to meet, but he was Jean-Luc Picard.
I was also confused as to why they abandoned the Shenzhou at the end of the episode and why it was adrift again. That part didn't make any sense.
Gravity, they did mention that.
Yes, there was a gravity well because of the binary stars.
Yep, the ship is going into the asteroid field. It was not going to be saved because there's no other ships left.
But the Europa stabilized them, and after the Europa was destroyed, they didn't mention anything about being...
Nope, it was stabilized, but it wasn't pulled clear. Thereby, it was pulled back in.
Okay, but they didn't say anything about that.
They abandoned ship. They didn't have to.
That's true.
It kind of sums it up right there. It's like, yeah, we going to die if we stay here.
Now here's one. Now, Jim, you didn't see the last episode, the second episode. At the end, at her actual
hold my
trial,
hand, please.
The tribunal was faceless, in shadow admirals. Instead of, it was like, that is the, would the Federation do that? Would they have this? You're not seeing that seemed a very odd choice to make in the direction of that scene.
Well, here's the thought, though. What if it wasn't the way the Starfleet did it, it's how she remembers it. She doesn't remember their faces. This is like a flashback to that moment, and she's just like professing her guilt, and she just doesn't recall their faces.
I just had a strange thought with the way the preview for the next episode has Lorca talking about he's got something afoot and he needs all these people. What if Discovery is a Section 31 ship?
It's possible.
That would be cool.
It would explain some things because
It
they kind of go outside of the.
You know what? I like political intrigue stuff. Had they kept it a Cold War that was on the verge of going hot, I probably would be more into it right now than I am.
Same here. Yeah.
Because it would open a lot more doors to tell single stories and things like that instead of just, oh, how do we keep them from shooting at us this time? I don't know.
Like I said, it felt very ham-fisted. Now, I like the idea that if it was a section ship, then they could get into some X-Files-y kind of stuff as well.
Yes.
And still tell some of those moral tales at the same time. And that could also get them into some of the political intrigue kind of things. So cross your fingers. Maybe that's where they're heading.
Well, based on the preview for the next episode, someone's clearly running some sort of gravity experiments on Discovery.
That or this Discovery's in worse shape than we thought. Or there's just somebody who's just playing around with the light switch.
Nosferatu. Sorry, a SpongeBob reference there.
There's definitely things though that were good about it, so can't just crap on it here.
Oh no, there was
no. I'm not, and I'm not.
Good.
I'm not crapping on it. Like I said, it had equal measures of good and bad.
I'm not saying you were. I'm just saying in general. It's like there's plenty of people.
I'm just chiming in as before someone mistakes me as crapping on it. I'm not. Now let's talk for a second about bridge placement. I thought that was different.
I kind of like the idea.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not the first time they did it. I think the Sovereign class had something
tactically,
similar.
I know, but tactically, I think that makes more sense. Are you going to want your control center sitting right up on top where everyone can blast away at it, or do you want to tuck it up underneath the ship?
You want it buried inside the ship. You don't want it anywhere near the outside of the ship at all.
Dead center, man. Yeah. I always thought the bridge should be dead center in the saucer section.
Sure, but here's the thing about that, at least when you're looking at...
That's where the battle bridge is. The battle bridge is buried deep inside the ship.
No, it's not.
It's in the neck.
Yeah, it's in the neck, and and we're talking the Enterprise D, once the saucers are moved, it's fully exposed again.
Yes.
The thing is, they've always explained it, is that the bridge is actually the most protected spot on the entire ship. The shields are the strongest there, which, granted, makes sense. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, it has redundant shields and stuff.
But I'm not going to disagree with you.
The whole
probably should.
Double thick, too.
You should probably treat it like the CIC. The CIC of modern ships is not actually on the conning tower or whatever of the ship. The bridge is actually, from the way I've heard explained, not used as much for actual command stuff. It's just literally there's guys up there that control the ship, track, follow radar, all that stuff. But everything, the brains, is in the CIC, and that's what your bridge of a starship probably should be treated as similarly. Now, realistically speaking,
we didn't get into the whole Gene Roddenberry ship rules thing on the air ever, did we?
I think we've talked about it before, but
I did not know that those rules were put in place because of Franz Joseph.
What rules? What?
The rules of the way starships are supposed to look, with the bridge exactly where it is on the top of the saucer, the nacelles in pairs and things like that. You couldn't have 3; it had to be either 2 or 4, and all that stuff. That came about because of a falling out between Gene Roddenberry and Franz Joseph, who did the Star Trek Technical Manual and stuff way back in the 70s. And this kind of stuff, one of the things I did like was that the bridge, while it's in that bubble at the top, is not right there at the top of it. Well, it is, but it isn't. But there's no windows. The view screen is just that. It's a view screen. There is nothing. I mean, there's
It's solid.
technology behind the wall. It doesn't look out into space. JJ changed all that when he made it a giant window.
And now we've
the
got
view
Windows.
screen
I
was
hated it.
and then they did this. They did it in this as well, where it's a window, not a view screen. And there's heads up displays and overlays and stuff on the actual glass.
Even Giorgio's Ready Room or whatever, the windows had a HUD.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So
the holographic projections were a little meh.
Well, see, the reason I'm okay with that is TOS was an envision of how they saw the future 200 years from then.
true.
This is how we see the future 200 years from now.
True.
I mean, we have smart glass now.
We have transparent aluminum, dude.
Yeah, so to say that they would not have stuff like that in 200 years, prime timeline or otherwise, is just nitpicking because you want everything to be off gray and with baubles on it.
No.
The idea of a window
No.
kind of bothers me because they showed it in this one. It blew out. They blew half the ship, the bridge off, and people went flying out because it was just a window. If there was actual stuff there was bulkheads and all that kind of stuff there, that wouldn't have it would have been damaged, but it wouldn't have ripped a hole right in it and people went sucked out.
Now, I'm not saying that in combat situations a armored plate should slide up.
Battlestar Galactica was.
Well, they even do that in STO. There are ships that, and when you enter Red Alert, they activate armor plates that go over all the windows on the ship.
The Avenger, the
perfect
Arbiter,
sense.
I think.
I mean, the NX had armor because they didn't have shields yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they didn't have
was
armor
hull
that
plating.
popped over windows.
Yeah, that was they just magnetized the whole plating.
That was a nice little nod. Phase
And
cannons.
The Defiant has a blade of hull armor.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they also point out that the Shinzo was old.
Yes. And in the books, it gets even further into that, I guess. How old it really is.
Now, there was one thing that I noticed, and I did mention it while we were watching the show, but I don't know if anybody else paid attention to it. It was the fact that when the Klingon ship first decloaked, it and the Shinzao were not lined up.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was nice. There was a lot of that in the battle scene.
Yes, that was
actually
where the ships came in at different angles and stuff, and it for the first time in Star Trek, and probably any sci-fi aside from what I think like the latest Star Wars. I think Rogue One had things come in that weren't all lined up.
I think they did it in BSG 2, but not to the same degree. But that's mostly because when you saw ships appearing next to each other, they were always being jumped as a fleet, so they had already coordinated their orientation.
The only one, Star Trek 6, when the what's his name, the Klingon ship first appears, it is not lined up with the Enterprise, and it has to adjust its orientation. The only time I remember in any of the original Treks where the ships did not come in oriented nose to nose.
Can we talk about how dumb that Admiral was for a moment?
Oh, let's talk about that, Admiral.
Let's talk about something good first. A lot of the little nods that they've included into it. I mean, the sound
The noise,
effects.
the sound. Well, there's were
some very
TNG
grumpy
sound effects.
Yeah, some very grumpy TNG sound effects specifically.
Yeah, there was some of that. It was like, okay. And I know in a post on Facebook, Gabe Koner had said something about that, where it was like they kind of just ran out of time and they just went to the sound bank and said, "What do we got?"
And there was a TNG phaser beam blast that at least was in the flashback that last time on Star Trek. Here's the battle going on, and there was a phaser array sound effect. I'm like, where was that? Because it wasn't in the actual episode. But again, that's neither here nor there. I really dig, though, the torpedoes. They actually looked like, original series, glowy torpedo with the sound effect of it. I don't know if you guys caught it.
Just when they first walk on the bridge and there's that whistle and just the hum in the background, that the ambient noise of the bridge, that was nice. I was like, okay, that was cool. I'm digging that. And again, what?
Can someone explain to me what that robot-headed thing was?
I don't know.
We
They
don't
haven't
know
teased
yet.
it.
We don't
That-
know yet. We know it's at least
kept
cybernetic.
getting-
We know it's at least cybernetic because there is a part in the second episode when they're in the battle where they pick her up, and it is her, and say, "Take her to sickbay."
Yes. So there's some sort of cyborgishness going on there.
That, or this is my theory. They're a species that can't live in standard atmosphere.
Oh, that might be it.
Ultimately, it's a descendant of Daft Punk.
Yes.
That's what it is. There you go.
They're there to make Starfleet harder, better, faster, and stronger.
Now I gotta say, a lot of people are complaining about the uniform. I have no problem with the uniforms. And now that I've heard the explanation as to why the uniforms on the Enterprise look different,
Yeah, I was reading that. Yeah.
that makes awesome. That was like, oh, okay, those are for the elites. Those are for the flagships. Everybody else just gets to wear the jumpsuits, which makes
Yeah,
I mean,
the flagships get the comfy jammies.
yes, it's not unheard of that there are multiple uniforms in play even nowadays.
Well, look, Riker's wearing.
Well, I'm
the
doing
DS
that. I'm doing that in my production as well.
Riker wears the DS9 uniform in Generation.
Yeah, half the crew was.
Generations.
Data switched. Data wore the duty uniform, and then he wore the full uniform.
His Q in the replicator came up.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not unheard of, and it is a nod to Enterprise. The blue is a nod to Enterprise, because Enterprise's jumpsuit started kind of purpley, and then by the fourth season they had switched to to more of a blue. And
They faded.
Yeah, they faded.
They faded on the wash.
But either way, I mean, it was still a nice nod. Do I like the color scheme, the gold, silver, bronze? Not as much.
Awful lot of deltas.
Yeah, the delta. Yeah, they went overboard with the deltas.
Which we've noticed because it's in Star Trek Online, and we got a close look, and it's like, there's a lot of deltas. Even the boots have deltas.
It's kind of like the Superman
Yeah,
suit
they're
where it's all S's.
Yeah, they're freaking everywhere. Yeah, the clasps on the boot, zipper, the zipper pulls, the pattern in the fabric. I mean, it's freaking everywhere. It's overkill.
It is a little overkill. Now I realize that they have to
Starfleet's in
add.
vogue, baby.
They do that, designers and stuff, for this kind of. I mean, because of HD and because of the crispness of images now, that they add a lot of texture and things to fabrics now.
Because otherwise it would stand out and look very bland.
It would look very flat. It's like if you watched, like, say, the original Superman movie with Christopher Reeve, while that costume is very iconic comic book looking, it looks very flat.
It's true.
And then you look at, say, Superman from the new films, Man of Steel and those, there's a texture to it. It looks like I mean, it looks interesting. And that's probably what they're going for with the designs in Discovery.
Well, you look
fine.
at the jerseys in all the JJ films, and the pattern in the fabric is nothing but deltas.
And from a distance, though, it gives a texture unless you're right up on top of it.
Yeah, you really can't tell.
Right.
And the same with the stuff from, I mean, this, you can't tell. You know there's some texture there until you get right up on top of it. Do you realize that it's literally all deltas, which is still a little overkill. It's like, I wonder where they're from. The Federation. How do you know?
I'm not sure. Something's giving it away here.
Yeah, something's giving it away. But
It's
I
the
don't
haircut. That's what it is. Yeah, the haircut into a delta. That's totally what's giving it away.
I don't mind that. I mean, Burnham's character being raised on Vulcan the way she was. Again, the whole damage to her, the amount of damage, psychological damage that she's got, because not only was her parents murdered by the Klingons, and then she was raised on an emotionless planet where showing emotion was considered wrong. As a kid, I mean, that's got to be mind warping.
Now that Vulcan Learning Center was straight out of JJ Trek.
Yep.
Well,
yes.
Okay, I wanted to say this when we were doing our little post show, but I felt like a little post show wasn't actually going to go up because we kind of went off on tangents for
We did. We went on
things.
tangents, and it got a little hairy. So I was like, I'm not going to edit this.
While we don't ever see a Vulcan Learning Center in Prime Universe up until Discovery, what is the first thing we see Spock doing in the third movie?
Yes.
Relearning.
Fourth
Relearning.
movie.
Using the same techniques. Rapid fire question and answer. Yeah.
The only difference, of course, is he's doing it on a console in what is essentially his home,
Yes.
as opposed to in an actual educational facility.
Yep.
So
Klingon
that was why I'm
modification
like,
glyph.
that's why I'm like, that's not out of the JJ verse. That's simply them doing the same thing JJ did, which was showing what it would have been like in an actual education facility, as opposed to Spock's bathroom.
Which, when you look at the way it went through, it's logical. It really is. That setup is a logical way to teach. There is no
Puns are
distractions.
free.
It is you and the teacher.
Puns are free, by the way.
Not only that, but if you think about it, they probably, those holograms, they're probably soundproofing force fields too to further isolate.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Makes sense.
Okay. Speaking of holograms, why were the Klingon to Klingon holograms green, but the Federation to Klingon holograms full color?
Why were there holograms in the first place?
Again,
This is all
future
rather
200
new.
from now.
True.
Also,
Well, and we know-
why are ours full? We're going to say ours. Why are ours full color? But the Klingons are green. Who do you think out of the two cultures decided to spend more time developing holographic communications technology?
No, but when you're on the Klingon ship and the Federation hologram is visible, it's full color.
Yeah.
But the Klingon to Klingon communications are green.
Okay.
Probably.
If you're broadcasting from a full color, whatchamacallit,
Well,
But why would the Klingon receiver be able to handle full color if they can't transmit full color?
Well, their transmitter may be different than their receiver.
Hmm.
Two separate pieces of technology that work together and may not be on the same level.
But generally, technology like that is built hand in hand. And if you can't transmit full color, you don't build the ability to receive full color into your receiver.
He's got a point, guys. He's got an excellent point, actually.
That's true. That, you know what though? I honestly didn't even realize that.
It's like this. It's like,
I don't understand the hologram stuff.
Okay, contemporary parallel. Okay. If I've got a black and white TV, all I'm going to see is black and white on my black and white TV.
Yes.
They're transmitting in color, but all I can receive is black and white. In the Klingon world, they receive black and green. They're not. How are they going to get full color?
That's true.
Because, you know, so it's the same kind of thing. So yeah, that's odd.
Well, it could be, again, that their receivers are capable of receiving full color, but their transmitters just don't give a shit.
That's possible too. Either way, I was just more like, I kind of missed the whole just on-screen thing.
Well, he did appear on screen when he broadcast to the whole fleet at the end.
I mean, I don't mind holograms. I think it's actually a very futuristic and a much more...
Oh, it's nice and all, but it's too Star Wars-y for me. I'm sorry.
It's not unprecedented, though. I know they didn't introduce it in Deep Space Nine.
And they dropped it because they didn't like it.
It appeared in the animated
series.
series.
It appeared in the animated series.
I thought they dropped it because it was too expensive.
There was apparently a lot of complaints. Let me look that up.
I don't know.
Complaints about Star Trek from fans?
No,
Never.
from the producers.
Oh, okay.
No.
But yeah, that Admiral, I don't know how he achieved the rank of Admiral.
See, I'm going to wait until we're about 3 or 4 episodes in, and then I'm probably going to pay to binge.
Go ahead.
The Admiral, he's just an idiot.
Well, he's dead now.
What?
But he took the ramming ship with him.
My whole there was certain aspects of it that not just the Admiral, but when Georgiou is talking to the Klingons as well. The Federation, yes, the Federation prefers peace, but the Federation has never been afraid to defend themselves.
Right.
And you got the impression in those 2 episodes that they didn't even necessarily want to defend themselves if they didn't have to.
Yeah, we're taking pacifism to an extreme. And the thing is, it's always been established that Starfleet admirals are pretty cagey sons of bitches. They really are.
Not that
very
one.
cagey.
He was an idiot.
So any Starfleet admiral being an idiot immediately is a red flag for me. It's like, what?
He was Zach Brannigan.
I don't feel like he was an idiot. I just literally feel like
he even looked like Zach Brannigan.
Leela Turanga, you're looking very sensual.
Oh, God, that's hilarious.
Tecumva, I find that we should boost our cultural exchange here.
Come on over and we'll have some suds.
Okay, so here's the thing. The holocommunicator was not seen as successful, which was alluded to by Gary Hutzel. It was a terrible idea from the get-go. The idea was to create this amazing 3D image, but TV is a 2D medium, so it's hard to show that it's 3D. So you have to move the camera around so that audience can see that it's 3D, but then it could look to them like the guy beamed in. So you have to find a way to deal with that. It created all these problems that the writers hadn't thought about, and it missed the whole point of why Gene Roddenberry wanted a view screen, so you could avoid unnecessary expense.
Well,
and it was apparently,
cheaper now.
Well, apparently it is.
Because, you could do it CG-wise. And you know what? I hate to say it, but that is such a cop-out, though, because Lucas did it in 1977.
Yeah, but the thing with the...
Yeah, but he did it for a movie.
Did it for a movie.
Still a 2D medium.
Yeah, but it also... They were still very limited as to where they were. You didn't see them all the time.
True. And they always looked sketchy, but you knew they were a hologram. They were see-through, there was lines in it. It was not a person standing there.
I mean, it was very obviously some kind of communication.
Not only standing there, but sitting on a desk that doesn't exist on his end of the transmission. That was another thing that I thought was really silly. Was Sarek kind of walks across the room and sits on the edge of the goddamn desk. What?
I did think that was odd.
Just floating in space. Yeah, why was the desk not there?
And besides, why would Sarek be leaning? That's a little bit too casual for a Vulcan.
Yeah, a bit relaxed, especially for Sarek, who's got a stick up his wazoo to begin with.
Why did she need to outlogic the computer to escape the cell? She was clearly going to die.
Well,
she just needed to make the computer think a few minutes ahead.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I know it sounds like nitpicking, but when you look at all these little hiccups and you add them all up and you start to go, it's not passing the smell test because it's not holding not only to what's been established, but just to general logic to begin with.
On the other hand, though,
I mean, if we're going to talk like that, the first 20 minutes of the Orville is literally unwatchable, yet we're still watching that.
True. And I dare anyone to go back and watch Encounter at Farpoint and tell me that's a good episode.
It was lousy.
I dare anyone to go back and tell me that The Emissary was a good episode.
I would parade Emissary over Farpoint.
But
that's why I'm still giving it a chance.
Exactly.
Plus, I need to do my due diligence to the fans and be here to, talk about it.
Now, I will. Enterprise was the second half of the pilot was good. The first half was unwatchable. That whole crap with the kid painting and the flashbacks to when he was a kid, it's like you just want to punch that kid in the face.
You're awfully violent towards children.
No, just that kid.
just that one.
Because I realize it's supposed to be Archer, but no. But the second half of the pilot was actually really good.
Oh, here's another point that was made. Ronald Moore had mentioned that from a production standpoint, they moved away from continuing with the holocommunicator because he's like, we never had a view screen type scene that would have been more effective with the holocommunicator. And considering what they're doing, like they had on Shenzhou, where the Admiral's literally walking around the bridge, which is odd considering that he should be on his own bridge and avoiding running into things. That'd be kind of funny. he's walking around on Shinzo's bridge
Son
and
of a-
suddenly he smacks into the console. Son of a damn it! But
I
he
don't
passes
care
through
if
the
he's
console.
indisposed. You get him on that right now. All of a sudden, the guy's sitting there taking a leak. Would you shut that off? Sitting there taking a leak on one of the consoles. What the heck?
I'm busy here.
Looking like a Mocklin hatching an egg. You know.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know. Having the holograms, I'm still. I totally am okay with it for Star Wars. They've long since established it's good. It's fine there.
Mhm.
And the way that that's always looked, it's always looked very hologramming and graphic and whatnot. Whereas these, they're going for that kind of realistic look. They've kind of moved away from that a little bit. They made it a bit, I guess, TV fuzzy.
they
Either way.
Blade Runnered it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not keen on how it's being implemented yet. It is a nitpicky thing.
It is. The big, I think one of the large things I see people complaining about was that it is illogical for the Vulcans to attack first, and that the Vulcans would never do that. I was like, if their first
They
encounter
Didn't attack
was-
first, though.
well, no, their first encounter, they were attacked unprovoked.
It's logical
Therefore,
to
the
presume
logical,
they will do it again.
yeah, the logical assumption would be that you are always going to be attacked because the Klingons attack. Their actions are louder than their words, so therefore you attack first and you establish that you are just as strong as they are, and then you open dialogue. That's logical.
Did anyone else find Saru a little annoying?
Yeah,
Who?
the alien guy.
The science officer.
I liked him.
No, I'm
I
okay
like
with him.
I like
There
him.
was something kind of Niles Crane about him that I liked.
I want to
Yeah,
know,
now that
what
you
the
say that
predator
again, I can get
species
that.
on his planet looks like.
Yeah,
He's like the
really.
voice of pragmatic reasons. Like, no, we shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. It's like, you know what? I'm totally behind what he's saying.
Yeah, he was the most of all the characters in the show so far. He is the most well thought out and most reasoned character.
He's Bones. Or
Sort
he
of.
is their Bones ish.
Keep the conversation going. Can you just step away from my mic for a couple of
I-
minutes? I'll
I'm-
be right back.
Yoda
I am
lady.
curious though.
Yoda lady.
Wasn't it official that the Klingons didn't get cloaking devices until 2260s? Because that was part of an exchange. That's how the Romulans got
I'm not sure.
the D7s.
Well, to be fair, it is also pointed out that the Klingons don't have that technology. Only T'Kuvma's ships do.
and apparently on a random Klingon ship as well. That we're not sure where that one came from, but apparently it didn't live very long because it went boom.
That's why I said his ships.
Well, we do know that Klingon houses, although I'm not sure if he's part of a house, but anyway, Klingon houses are all different.
He
Their
is part of a
fleets are
house.
different.
That little flashback of his shows he is part of a house, but
No,
his
I mean,
house had been dishonored.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't know if he was it was a regular house that he leads or anything. I didn't know. I didn't catch all of it. But anyway, we do know it is established that Klingon houses, their fleets, they can be a little different from each other. That was a very key point in Deep Space Nine, in fact. Oh, we all failed to resist the Breen weapon, except those guys. You're the only ones who do it because you had a unique, setup. All right, we're going to copy what he did, or what you guys did. And then we got Firefly in the chat. Let's see. It's very possible that the Trek ships could have mental models a la the Op-4 vessels from Arpeggio of Blue Steel. I think you might have to explain that one there a bit, Firefly.
Are they going to have gravity cannons? Really, really weird glowy paint jobs. He's going to have to explain these things.
Yeah, we needed some more details. Well, speaking of ships, though, we did at least see something that looked an awful lot like a Nebula class.
Yeah, there were some proto ships in there, which again I'm okay with.
Yeah, it makes sense that there would be. I mean, we thought that the Europa was a Reliant type. Apparently, no. There's 4 nacelles on that one. Although it could be still a Reliant style, just with 4 nacelles instead of 2. Oh, ooh, no, actually, better idea. Be closer to, like, the Kobayashi Maru. Which apparently is going to be a thing we get to play again this weekend on PC.
I'm still waiting for the answer whether or not it'll be suicidal again.
You said we know the computers are near AI, so if one evolved like Voyager's EMH did, and given that the ship would have holometers all over it, still waiting for Fireflies to finish that.
Well, I know in Interpretio Blue Steel, there's the Fleet of Fog. They're advanced warships. They have holographic avatars, kinda, sorta, maybe.
Yeah, it's not like we haven't played with that idea ourselves.
And
Valhalla.
well, yeah, but they take it a little bit further.
Well, you got at least, what, another century in there?
Well, and all the ships are based on, older ships.
USS Thurgy. Moving along.
Move along, move along.
It's like someone took an Odyssey class and threw a couple extra nacelles on it.
I'll tell you
Anyway.
what's making me crazy. I don't mean to drag the Outer Rim into this at all, but I got to mention that between the Orville and the new Star Trek, they're both making me crazy because they're doing things and designing things in such a way that I'm having to go back and change some of my stuff because they've established it before I got a chance to, and
And it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm going to get accused of copying them when I thought of it a freaking year ago. So it's like when I saw the I think it was the second or third trailer for Orville, and Captain Mercer says, engage quantum engines. And I went, well, for the love of God, I'm going to have to change that now. Son of a gun. And then when I saw the new Klingon ships the other night, I went, well, those are my Parkesh pirates. I'm going to have to change those babies. Doggone it. So, but the upside of that, though, is it tells me that I'm on the right track as far as what's going to work.
Firefly's like, did you document it, or can you document it? And frankly, I don't think it matters because now put it out there.
No, it's theirs, and they have lawyers, and I don't. So so I'm going to have to bend, and that's okay because it just forces me to get more creative. But my God, that's frustrating as hell. It's satisfying on one side and frustrating on the other. Because
all right, here's what you need to do. You need to bust out the dictionary of technobabble and slap
such a
together
dictionary?
Yeah, it's called me. And then slap together like 4 or 5 different words together, and then the word engine.
Well, I didn't want to create a mouthful. That was the thing.
Okay, so we got pictures here. Is this the Europa
I'm
or is
always
this
a
Shinzo?
mouthful.
But online?
Yeah, you're showing pictures.
That was the Shenzhou.
Okay.
Or the Shenzhou.
Shenzhou. Yeah, it throws me off.
Yes.
There was a bit of it that did remind me of the NX. The saucer section was very NX, and I think what's making the Axonar people crazy is the engine orientation and the way it connects to that small secondary hull underneath.
Yes.
Well, they used
It is so similar to the Ares, and that's what's making them crazy.
Well,
but
the
it's
Ares
like,
is
it's
very
not
similar.
like that was ever thought of before.
They're
though.
both based off of the same old John Eves design.
Yes.
Mm.
John Heaves designed that back in 2006. That design that because he's also the designer of, he's working on Discovery. Those are his ships.
Yeah.
And Sean Taranjo even said that the John Eves design was part of the inspiration for the Ares.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all all this crying and yelling. Well, you know what? You got beat to the punch, just like I got beat to the punch on a couple of things. So you know what? Suck it up. Deal.
These things do happen. Other things that were definitely positives, though. The rifle that they used, okay, that was pretty cool. And I can't, for Star Trek Online, I kind of want the EV suit.
That EV suit was bitchin'. And I'll tell you what else was badass. Was the fact that ancient Klingon ship is covered in caskets filled with dead Klingons.
Though
That's their armor. How
although they
badass
shouldn't be
is
able
that?
to
That's pretty
decompose.
badass.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to
I don't-
decompose, though.
You know.
Oh, it depends on if they are sealed against the space.
Yeah, they shouldn't be decomposing. They'd be kind of freeze dried, wouldn't they? Well, maybe that's what they meant by decomposition. But
well, if it's a hermetically sealed and it's airtight seal, and they are sealed on the ship and then
yeah,
sent
but
out to space.
aside from the nitpicking, though, I thought it was just badass that they would cover their ship with the corpses of their dead. Holy crap! I mean, that's as badass as it gets. I thought that impressed me. I thought that was pretty damn cool.
There was a lot into the Klingon culture that they got into and added to, which, and they continuously
Collecting your dead?
kept the death chant.
They did the death howl. That's canon. Okay.
Opened his eyes to the death howl. Yeah, that was good.
Personally, even though I don't like the redesign of the Klingons, the fact that David Hulkin is like 100% gung-ho for all of this is a pretty good sign, at least for the Klingon aspect of things.
I feel badly for the actors because they do seem to be struggling inside the makeup, and I really wish that they had totally done ADR for all their dialogue so that they didn't sound like they had a mouthful of marbles.
Well, that was one thing that Takovma, he sounded like he was struggling with the lines. Like he was having a hard time phonetically getting that right.
Well, I saw one of the guys in an interview talking about how they had to learn Klingon. They brought in, I don't think Okrend works with them anymore. There was some lady they were working with who's also studied the language. And so she was coaching them on it, and that they had it all written out phonetically.
Yeah,
so
but
that
he
they
just
could learn their
it
lines.
sounded like he was reading off of cue cards at times.
Yeah, it was very hard.
I mean, when no matter how you look at it, Klingon is very harsh to listen to.
And you're not speaking good Klingon unless you're spitting a bit, which is
Yeah.
pretty much what all other Klingon people who have played Klingons have said, including Michael Dorn.
Now, I will say, the makeup itself, aside from that first shot where they were real close on his face, where he was shiny as all get out, where it just looked like paint on somebody's face. The rest
Yeah,
of it,
I know. It bothered the hell out of me. I wanted to get on him with a powder brush.
I did. I was like, where's the powder? Where's the guy with the powder? Why is he
Powder.
so shiny? But when they pulled away, and all of a sudden because they're silicone prosthetics, and silicone is it's such a nice, it's just really nice, but it blends with skin so well, and it has a very skin-like texture to it when it's done right, and they look gorgeous. They really did look good. They looked alien. They looked like had the Klingons looked like that from the get-go, I would have been sold from right in the beginning. But because we have seen so many different variations of Klingons, and now we have another one.
Well, they just seem so scripted. I think that's what bothers me the most. It doesn't look organic enough. It's almost biomechanical. It's really weird. I don't know.
I miss
if I
the
like
hair.
It. Yeah, where's the hair?
I do miss the hair.
It should have hair. Then again, I think that's another nod to JJ, unfortunately, because they had no hair.
Well, Neville Page designed both.
And what's his thing against hair? Is he bald?
I don't know. You know what though? The ones that were approved for Into Darkness compared to some of the concepts, some of those concepts were, right on the money. They should have used some of those. There were ones where they had tentacle like dreadlocks, where it was like not really hair, but it really wasn't skin. It was just and it was wrap armor and stuff. Oh, it was gorgeous. And I was like, why did they not use that? That would have been the perfect Klingon. But that's neither here nor there. Because now we've got yet one more Klingon design. We're up to what now? 5? We got the smooth head Klingons. We have the motion picture Klingon, which is different from Star Trek 3 and beyond.
But they did lead into it.
It did lead into it. It was the beginning of the four-headed Klingons. There was only one other film that nodded back to that design. That was Star Trek 6, when Uhura is talking to the Klingons at when they're heading to Ruapente. One of the guy who leans in and he's like, "What are you listening to?" His forehead ridge is the same as the ones they used in the motion picture. So it established that both of those are in the same timeline, and it's not just, well, this is what they did and this is what they did. And then by the time we got to Star Trek 5 or The Next Generation, and it was just a turtle shell.
Well, it did vary from Klingon to Klingon, so
yes,
yeah, some genetic differences, which makes sense.
Yes,
but when you have everybody right now, including your High Council, looks exactly the same, and also the whole stilted talking, yeah, there's a lot of that. I think there's also movement. Those costumes must be amazingly uncomfortable.
Yeah, they look uncomfortable.
There goes a Klingon.
Rock on.
Sorry about that.
That's what happens when you eat Klingon beans.
And Dorian chili.
And it just started pouring here, just out of nowhere, just pouring.
What, raining?
Yeah, well, I'm out on the porch like usual. That's why you hear the occasional motorcycle. But yeah, just out of nowhere. Wow. Well, we need it. So, okay.
I'll send it this way because everything's crunching under my feet right now.
Yeah, we've been getting rain here. It'll head to you. I'm
sure hoping so, because we've had a heat wave for the past week and a half where it's been in the 90s.
Oh, yeah,
everything has dried out.
That was ours. It's moving away. It'll pass. It took about a little over a week.
That's all good. So, I guess we're all under the agreement that we're going to give it a couple more episodes before we make our final decisions.
I mean, overall,
yeah, okay.
Overall, yeah. I mean, I'm liking the story. There's definitely some things about it like. So
now, is it going to be a new one? You had said it's going to be a new one every month. Is that
no?
True,
every week.
Be a new one every week. Okay,
every week.
I'm going to wait
4 episodes a month.
I'm going to wait 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'm going to binge, up to the latest one, and then
we'll see. Apparently, if you cancel all access, you're still good up until the end of the month when you would have been rebilled. So apparently, I guess because I'm past the 26th, I still have all access until the 26th of October. So I guess I'm gonna get to watch a couple more episodes. Oh, you paid? Well, I grabbed I went to all access and I picked the commercial-free version.
Yeah.
And it didn't say that I was charged because it's supposed to be the first week was free.
Yes.
And we watched it Sunday, so it shouldn't have been charged, but apparently they still give you 30 days.
That's really weird.
I don't know, man. I'll find out.
Well, it should know if you've got till Sunday, and if it should disappear on Sunday.
So
is that what it says?
Huh.
Apparently, right, Aaron Harberts, the new showrunner, is saying that Fuller is the one who changed the look of the Klingons. So he's built himself an out on that one.
I don't believe it. I don't.
I don't
buy that either, because Fuller was the Star Trek fan who wanted this show to start. It was his. He wanted to do this. He's the one who wrote the first 2 episodes, and then they were rewritten when he left the show, and all this other stuff. So I don't buy one. I think that's the scapegoating somebody who's no longer attached to the show.
Oh well, Dorn says Fuller's Klingons looked very different than what we saw. So Dorn is indirectly calling Harberts a liar, apparently.
Huh.
Because somebody texted at Michael Dorn, when you were negotiating to play Worf's ancestor, did they tell you he would look like ... that, then with a link to a picture, I guess, of the new Klingons? And Dorn's response was, no, Brian Fuller's Klingons were very different.
Yeah, so, like I said, I'm not buying it.
Just trying to, oh, it's not me, it's him. Distraction.
It's not Khan.
Yeah. They already tricked us once. Oh, twice.
Yeah, fool me once.
Now,
Well, I mean, we were willing to buy it, just like on the off chance that they weren't just trying to screw everything over. But it's like visually, I mean, there's a lot of the visual aesthetics that are just like, ugh, really, guys?
now I
Starfleet
know,
side of things, you got pretty good. The Klingon side, what the hell?
I know that it's what's his name, Kurtzman's production company. Was it Hidden Secret Hideout or whatever it is? But because of all the nods, and because of Neville Page coming in and designing the Klingons and all this other stuff, the ties to the JJ verse and the fact that Bad Robot was involved at the beginning of Discovery's pre-production and pre-planning. They were involved at the beginning, so I'm just curious how many crossovers there were and how much of that lingering JJ stuff and the TV show and all that
Right.
that is still in there.
Yeah,
Well, I wonder if
it's baked in.
Kurtzman has his hands on whatever JJ came up with when JJ wanted to do a TV show way back in the day.
Yeah, it was like 2000. Well, it was right after the 2009 Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Kurtzman has that stuff in his possession and worked from it or something.
Gabe Corner made the perfect comment about it. He said, "This looked like a show that has 40 executive producers because it has 40 executive producers. Everybody has their hand in the pot right now. There's no single showrunner."
It's like the executive producer thing on Futurama. We've made him executive delivery boy. What does that mean? Oh, nothing, just makes him feel better.
Good news, everyone. Dear.
Just makes him feel important.
Yes. Doesn't get any. But seriously, there was a. I mean, what were there? Three credit cards or 3 cards that came up during the credits of executive producers.
One of them being Roddenberry.
Yes. Now I wonder how much of that is in title only, just because he's a Roddenberry.
Very distinct possibility.
Not to say anything bad about Rod Roddenberry, but I'm just curious.
I'm curious, when is Jonathan Frakes' directed episode?
I don't know. Maybe it'll air the same week as his. Didn't he direct an episode of The Orville as well?
I don't know. Did he?
Yes, he did.
Put them up against each other, week to week. Well, you know what? I look at it this way: I got 2 Star Trek shows to watch now.
Well, I know that
That was it.
the other big Discovery news is that season 2 might not come until 2019.
Yeah, they're going to end this one. What'd they say? At the end of January, and then it's another year. Sometime early 2019.
They're not doing it right.
Nope. It reminds me of Avatar. Speaking,
The movie,
but not the last
The-
Airbender, right?
not the
Yeah, okay.
Airbender, the Avatar with the blue Smurfs, or the Smurfs.
Thunder
and-
Smurfs.
Yeah, Dancing with the Smurfs.
The Smurfs with a thyroid condition. Yeah.
Oh, and the best right now, because for some reason the geeky websites keep bringing this movie up, and I don't know why, because every time you look at the comments, it's like, no one cares. James, we don't care. No one cares anymore. It's been too long. No one cares about your movie. But they all had the clickbait that the children of the 2 main characters have been revealed, and it's a photograph of the kids who are acting.
Okay, on IMDb, there are 16 people that have executive producer or co-executive producer credit for at least one episode.
Oh my God.
Lord. See, that's a lot of hands in the pot. And on television, it's much different than movies. On television, it's the producers that run the show. In a film, it's the director that runs the show. Whereas the producer can still fire the director, but the director is given a lot more control over what the final product looks like.
Unless you're a producer director.
True.
Or unless you're Kathleen Kennedy.
True.
Not that I'm knocking Kathleen Kennedy by
No, I
any means.
mean not
no.
to say that in the motion picture side of things that the producer is completely like powerless. Of course he has power, but the dynamic is different because of the way the monies are handled and stuff, and the way the finances are handled. Television shows, the finances are much different than they are on a film. And the producer is the one who deals with the finances more, and I mean that kind of stuff, the budgeting and all that kind of stuff. That's done. The director just goes in and directs the actors, where the producer basically runs everything else. It's just different. But when you've got 14 of them, 16 of them, dear Lord. Well, I don't like the way that looked.
Going to be bringing in.
You're breaking up, Jim.
Have we heard if Discovery's going to be bringing in any guest directors?
Just Frakes.
Yeah, we know at least Frakes. I mean, it could be possible they could always ask LeVar Burton to come in. He's good at what he does.
Yeah, Robert Duncan McNeil.
Yeah.
Now,
I thought Frakes was going to do Orville, though.
He's doing both.
Oh, nice.
Supposedly, Goldsman directed an episode.
Akiva?
The IMDb page says series directed by Akiva Goldsman, 1 episode, Adam Kane, 1 episode, Lee Rose, 1 episode, John Scott, 1 episode, David Semmel, 1 episode, TJ Scott, 1 episode.
I don't know any of those names.
No, me neither.
I gotta say, I really do like that engine room, though.
It is pretty slick.
But see, I don't know that I trust IMDb because they're saying Goldsman only has one writing credit, but supposedly part of the reason Fuller left was Goldsman was rewriting every episode Fuller put his hands on.
Yep. And lest we forget that Akiva Goldsman is the man who brought us Batman and Robin. Never, ever forget that. Whenever you see his name, remember that if it's bad, it's probably because of him.
And we still don't know what the extent of Nicholas Meyer's involvement with the show is or was.
Pretty sure he had his hands on one of the Transformer films, too. At least one of them. You're on IMDb, click on it. Click on his name and see if he has any credits for the Transformers films.
Let's see. He wrote A Beautiful Mind, I, Robot, The Da Vinci Code. He did the screenplay for The Dark Tower, story by for Transformers: The Last Night.
There's one.
There's one. Now look. Now
The Dark Tower was roundly criticized.
He wrote the screenplay for Batman Forever. Batman and Robin was written by him, and he wrote Lost in Space.
Okay. Every film he's written the screenplay for. That sucked. It's like one thing to write the story and write the treatments and all that kind of stuff, and then hand it off to somebody else to write the screenplay and tweak the dialogue and all that kind of stuff. But every film that you've named that he was the screenwriter for has been a complete and total POS.
Apparently, he wrote written by 12 episodes of Fringe, story by 7 episodes of Fringe.
Isn't Fringe gone?
Yes, it's been gone for a while.
Not a good sign.
Yeah, but Fringe was liked by a lot of people, but I don't know if his episodes were.
But again, it's like when I see his name on stuff, instantly I go, oh no.
Apparently, he was an admiral in Into Darkness and a council member in the 2009 Star Trek.
How about that?
Well, so was Tyler Perry, so.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting casting.
They should have had Medea run by.
And apparently he's been announced as the executive producer for the Mask movie, the Mobile Armored Strike Command movie.
Oh, no. No, I mean, well, that's going to lead up to it because when you look at the Hasbro line of films, cartoons, and stuff from the 80s that they're trying to reboot into film and stuff, Transformers was an awesome cartoon. G.I. Joe was an awesome cartoon. Mask was the cartoon you watched when the other two weren't on because it was there.
You know, you're not wrong. Although I don't ever recall ever watching Mask.
It was not a good cartoon. It was one of those, oh man, Mask. It's like, oh, wait, oh. It really was that. It was like, oh man,
It
Mask.
was exactly.
And the toys sucked. They really did. I mean, the whole idea was just stupid.
And apparently he's involved in the Titans TV series.
It's kind of like the Visionaries. The Visionaries suck too.
You know, I think we should switch to something, really good quality Star Trek entertainment. You know, the kind that is wholesome and brings the family together and really explores the nature of what is love.
Oh dear Lord. I don't have that video queued up, though.
God, son of a, you suck.
I wish I did. Hold on, wait. Maybe I can get it.
I'll just sit back and laugh at the rest.
It wouldn't take it. I should have told you it wasn't there.
Well, I figured you were gonna. I was giving you time. I was like, quick, queue it up.
Oh, I gotta bring it in. Hold
on. But because I got an idea, we gotta play this first so that people see it.
Wait, is this a Geek EZ or a dance club?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The two are not necessarily.
See, I don't dance.
Mutually exclusive. Oh, you follow the Phil Collins thing. I don't dance.
I can't find it.
Can't sing. Well, you had it in the Facebook thing.
I know, but no, it's really weird. No, it was just one of those. It just fit. I don't know why, but it did. We were playing Star Trek Online the other day, and something that doesn't happen all the time happened.
Yeah, we were trying out the new Discovery uniforms.
Something that doesn't happen all the time happens. We were playing Star Trek Online together the other day.
Yeah, that never happens.
Actually, no, not really.
With Adam.
Yeah, I'm usually. Yeah, it's very odd for me to be in there.
Yeah, we even brought him into Attack Borg.
And yes.
To which we saw the ridiculousness that is Alistair's freighter.
Yes.
The greatest threat to the Borg.
I'm more of an Angry Birds.
Yes, cue the Benny Hills thing.
I want to find some traits and some stuff to fit that to equip that ship, and then go through and do all the story missions with it. Just that freighter. Maybe have one person along as like an escort, so it makes sense.
As an escort, yes, you are escorting us, so we needed to use like a Jemadar battleship.
You are there to just heal me, because I will have no heals, because I only have 3 abilities.
One of them being ridiculousness in your maneuverability.
No, that's just a native thing.
And the other just being a band-aid?
Well, when I was doing it in the board thing, I had 2 copies of Torpedo Spread and then Tactical Team.
Missiles for days.
Missiles for days.
He was literally doing, the Atano Circus thing. Which originally you could only do with the pilot ships until, we got the Kentari missile launcher?
The Kentari missile launcher and the Rapid Fire missile launcher.
Who's got the Rapid Fire?
Rapid Fire is in the Lobby store.
Oh, okay. Is there really a difference between the two?
If you fire high yield with one, you get a bunch of missiles. If you fire high yield with the other, you get nuclear.
Oh, that's right. I think the Kentari does the nuclear one. The nuclear option. Well, while he's still trying to
find
it.
It ain't happening. I can't find them. They were on my desktop. They're not there anymore.
Well, you pull it from the chat.
Guess I could do that.
I mean, it's a backup method.
And I will be right back again.
So, while he's getting that. So we're basically messing around with the Discovery uniforms, getting kind of a quote unquote uniform look across us with some variances between each character. And let's see, it was Adam, myself, Alistair, and I think it was Art.
And me.
What was you? I guess Art wasn't with us.
Art Vandelay.
No, Art must have been there. Because there was 4 of us doing what we did, and then
Art was there because he was showing off his attempt at the Europa after that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we got a couple different ideas for it. The ideas being that for the uniforms, it's kind of either between looking more towards TOS and looking more towards Wrath of Khan and beyond. You know, we didn't even try to match up towards the motion picture. I don't think it would look good, the Discovery uniforms with the motion picture color schemes.
Probably not.
They do have a lot of options for that uniform, though, and you get 3 of them too. So if you play Star Trek Online, I think it's a promotion thing. You can still get it.
So if you get one dirty, you can change into another one.
No, it's actually big differences in the rank. So there's Discovery Lieutenant, Discovery Captain, Discovery Admiral, and I think the options change a little bit for the. I don't know what you would call that. It's like this piping, the gold piping on at the arms, you know?
Yeah.
It was like it changes between the divisions and apparently your rank. So for some reason you get 3 of them.
Depending, yeah.
It's really hard to tell. And my personal opinion is looking at it is like I'm not sure why we needed 3 of them.
There it is.
Okay, but everybody has to do that head bob thing.
It's not an option in the game.
That's too bad.
No, it's not an option.
As you can see, I was not having any options either.
No, just lighting off rockets.
I was setting off rockets, making sandcastles.
Yeah.
If we do an official one, I'll probably be standing in the background doing air guitar.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking we should do. So we do that, but we take it a little further. We'd have to record it on multiple different locations. And you don't have to do it long either to get the dance.
No.
But we actually are dancing on desks, like the Admiral's desk
Yes.
on ESD.
Yes.
The captain's desk at DS9. I think there's an Admiral at the Dyson Sphere.
We record it all over the place, and then I can come in and I can edit them all together and make a music video out of it.
Yeah, we splice it together and just, it's the nonsense. And we'd have to find a way to, at least the way I pictured it in my head, obviously the reality is going to be different, but is we'd make sure we were arranged by height. So like 2 tallest guys on the outside and short guys in the middle, and then you could have Alistair in the background doing an air guitar or whatever.
No heads up or nothing, no display. It's just video.
Well, you could just do a demo record on that.
True. Can you move the camera around and demo record?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. But
As a matter of fact, you can even set it up so that it moves for you.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, there's Z Films does that, and they got some tutorials. I've been trying to mess with it a little bit. And
Yeah, I saw some. They did stuff when the Odyssey first was released.
yeah, he's gotten a lot better.
Yes.
He
Flew
was good
right
to
through the
begin
neck when it was in Space Dock.
Yeah, he's really good to begin with, and he's gotten better since. So
Yes.
yeah, we should definitely do that, and we can also set up our. Please wait, the Geek EZ is currently experiencing technical difficulties, and it's just us doing the
Yes.
waving your arms or the Saurian mating dance.
All right. Well, you know what? We're at this for an hour and a half, and I'm going to call last call on this one. I think we said our piece about Discovery, and nothing else really geeky has happened. Star Trek was the big news this week.
I am confused as to how we're going to have Harry Mudd in 7 episodes.
Well, he's not
Yeah.
going to shave.
I just don't know if the character works for that, but we'll see what they do with it.
From what we've seen, he looks like he's going to be a very interesting character. More than he was in the TOS.
But I just don't know that it needed to be Harry Mudd.
Why wouldn't it be?
I know, right? But they seem to be playing him more as an evil nemesis and not so much comic relief.
Well, Harry Mudd did get one over on Kirk more than once. He didn't.
The problem is that Harry Mudd has a very grandiose way of speaking and everything, and Rainn Wilson just doesn't do that.
Right.
I think I'm like the only person on the planet that really doesn't like him.
I'm not a fan of the Harry Mudd episodes. I skipped them.
Not Harry Mudd, Rainn Wilson.
Oh. Yeah, I was watching Galaxy Quest right before we came on, and he's in that, and he's probably
He's one note. He's the same character. Everything he does.
He is bland. And and when they said he was going to play Harry Mudd, I said, well, there we go. I mean, I cosplay Harry Mudd. All right, so and if you've seen my picture, you go, oh yeah, I can see that. So. I don't know. I just don't get Rainn Wilson as Harry Mudd. That's weird.
I cosplay as myself.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah, you suck at it.
I do too. I cosplay as myself, but only taller.
So last call thing. Okay, so Firefly had a last call for us. He threw
what?
He threw in a Kickstarter for the Rooster Teeth Ruby Combat Ready board game.
We're gonna sit here and start like letting doing things for other guys.
To be fair, this is all I'm gonna say, and it probably all we should really have to say on it.
Will you let me?
I don't think they need a Kickstarter.
I mean, it's Rooster Teeth. They're like the competition guys. I'm kidding.
I love Rooster Teeth, but
yes,
I really don't think they need a Kickstarter. They've got their store, which they make bank on. They're probably still getting some good ad revenue on YouTube despite the adpocalypse. They have their own subscription service. They have their own box service. I'm pretty sure they don't need to Kickstarter a board game.
Well, we don't know that because we don't know what goes on in the background. We don't know their numbers. For example, there was a company that produced gaming tables. It was called Geek Chic. And it looked like it was doing really successful. It kept showing up at conventions and, had a big presence.
I
even
remember
made it on
those.
Shark Tank. Yeah. They're fantastic. They're bankrupt and gone because they were in the red. And they had big investments put into them, and they're gone. So we don't know what Rooster Teeth's got. I can't imagine that they're doing better than Geek Chic did, but we don't know. We just don't know. And besides, if it's a chance for people for Kickstarter for people to use Kickstarter to get into it, they gives them an idea. Is there any actual interest in a board game for it? So this is actually probably a smart way to go.
As long as Rooster Teeth talks our Kickstarter when we start ours.
I don't think Rooster Teeth has anything to do with it. It's just Firefly was mentioning it.
I know.
Also,
I'm kidding.
Their next season for Ruby comes out here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's going to come out right around my birthday.
And they're going to do limited showings via Fathom on theaters.
Wow. Well, and it was just like something they did as like a fan project, right? Kind of like just a thing, and all of a sudden it just grew.
Oh no, it was Monty Ohm's thing. It was Monty Ohm's deal. He wanted to do that, and they said, well, okay, if we get through this season of Red versus Blue within this time frame, sure, you can then produce that. And
but it grew some legs, man.
Yeah.
It took off.
It's very popular.
Yeah, I know, and I want to know how they did it.
It is incredibly popular in Japan.
But it's not an anime.
So they can actually say, I'm big in Japan?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see, another last call from Firefly. There's an Expanse board game in development. I don't know about this Expanse thing. But apparently he mentioned it last week, so I wasn't here for that.
I'm going to throw one in there. What the heck is going on with Stargate right now? I keep seeing these things pop up on Facebook about Stargate Command or whatever. What's going on with that? Anybody know?
I'm not sure. I can't seem to make any sense of it either. I've seen a lot of those coming up, and it sounds like they're starting up a new website. It's going to be kind of like Stargate Central, but I'm not sure what's going to grow out of that.
You know, that'd be a good property to go with like an MMO, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yes. Yeah, it would, actually.
Didn't Illustrate? I think we talked about it off air at some point, but it was. Didn't they want to actually do a crossover with Stargate and Star Trek?
Yes.
Yes.
It would have worked, but geez. Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, it was
It would have
right
totally worked.
before you did the recording. And we were discussing, like, you know, Teal'c would sit down with Worf to have a warrior's drink.
Prune juice.
Prune juice.
Oh, this is a warrior's drink. Oh, sorry.
Indeed.
That was a warrior's gas. And then you'd have you'll have Alistair, you're the Stargate file here. Who's the guy that was their scientist fella?
I'm sorry, what?
Who was their scientist fella on Stargate?
In Stargate? Well, that depends on your version of science. Are you talking technological science or archaeological science?
The one with the glasses.
Daniel Jackson.
That guy. Isn't he the one who just would break things down, figure stuff out? Yeah, I'm not the big Stargate guy. You are.
No, not really, no.
No, I think that's
He was the guy that died and then came back and then died again and came back.
Firefly. Sam enjoyed delving deep into technobabble?
I can't think of any other television series that was spawned from a film that not only succeeded as well as it did, but exceeded the film by leaps and bounds. Not saying that the Stargate film was bad, but the television show was so much better.
Well, they had a lot more room to play with.
True.
More time. But
Even though they kind of they didn't it was one of those, they didn't retell the original story. They kind of walked off of it, but it was just a better, I don't know, it was just better. I mean, I could think of a few sci-fi films that into television series. Logan's Run was one, and
it was bad all around.
Television series. No, dude, Logan's Run was not a bad movie. The story and stuff is actually really, really good sci-fi. It's just it was hampered by the production quality stuff they had.
I think you have to have read the book in order to really appreciate the film.
I'm trying to think of anything else that jumped onto the small screen from the large screen that pulled that off as well.
Planet of the Apes.
They ran for what? 3 seasons? 2 seasons?
2 seasons, I think.
Stargate had what, 11?
Yeah, I was gonna say not much of a run there.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, Stargate just was nuts, and to have two spinoffs, right?
3. 2.
1.
No, they had SG. They had Atlantis.
SG1,
and
there was Stargate Atlantis.
I thought we were just doing a countdown.
And then
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got us off on a tangent. I just don't know what that is. I'm going to have to click on one of those links.
Westworld.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a reboot. The Westworld films, Westworld, and what was the other one they did? Westworld and Future World?
Yeah.
And then there was the television series, which I think is pretty much Westworld in name and original idea only.
Young Indiana Jones Chronicles was pretty successful.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Technically, Battlestar Galactica did air in theaters before it became a series.
That's true.
Bates Motel.
Yeah, that's pretty successful, isn't it?
Star Wars has had 2 animated series that are pretty successful.
True.
Yeah, but I think it's most successful.
Buffy.
Still in
Buffy the Vampire Slayer was the other one.
Buffy the
And
Vampire.
MASH.
And MASH, yes, Matt.
Yep.
I know people who argue with this. Maybe I honestly think the television show was better than the film.
Also, Friday Night Lights.
Oh, hands down.
But Buffy was, the television show was so much better than the film. The film was horrific.
Friday
Again, it
Night
was-
Lights was a fairly successful TV show too.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
So Firefly just dropped a trailer for The Mummy Demastered. And I'm just
What?
It's something from Way Forward, the same people who did the remake of DuckTales, and Shantae. Let's see which we got there. I don't know. I think it might be a brand new game for them. It's tied to it's actually tied to the Mummy film because it's copyright 2017 Universal Studios.
Oh.
Didn't Disney have a Aladdin series for a couple?
Yeah,
of
they
years?
had Aladdin, they had Hercules, they had a Lilo and series and stuff, and they were pretty popular. They had a Little Mermaid series. They ran for years.
Got the Lion Guard.
Yes, and that's actually really successful. That's doing good for Disney right now.
Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Was that a movie? No. Well, Peter Pan.
It's based off of Peter Pan.
It is. It is based off of Pan.
Peter Pan.
And they got
shows up
Big Hero
from
6
time to
coming up.
time.
We'll say I have now watched what's available on the XD app because I don't have XD. It's not available in the package I have for cable. But I've watched it on the app, and DuckTales rocks. The new show is actually really good. David Tennant as Scrooge, totally believable. The stories are what's the word I'm looking for? Because the originals weren't like all kid friendly all the time too. I mean, they were made for kids, but everybody can enjoy them, and it's the same with this. My kids, they were into it. I mean, it's like, let's watch DuckTales. I was like, okay. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there watching it, going, hey, it's pretty good. So, but yeah, I think that's my end of last call stuff. Anybody else got anything before I shut the bar down?
I had a really good shoot this last weekend.
Sweet. Footage?
Well,
Sure, I'd like a tequila.
Okay.
We were shooting a dirt bike sequence, so I was getting a lot of stuff from the ground. But then I had a drone pilot come in and shoot some aerial stuff. And oh my God, I can hardly wait for you guys to see this footage. Oh my God, he was shooting some beautiful stuff. And last shot of the day, he's chasing the dirt bike through a pumpkin patch, and he's swinging around for one more pass, and some kind of upper level wind caught the drone and put it about 70 feet up in a maple tree.
Yep.
And there was just no way we could get to it. So we spent the rest of the afternoon tying string to arrows and with a compound bow, trying to hook that drone and pull it down. So that was fun. But we got some amazing footage in the process.
You did a shoot and a shoot.
Yeah. I see what
Puns
you
are free,
did there.
folks.
And we've got another shoot this weekend where Arcton meets her first officer for the first time, and it doesn't go well.
Does she happen to try to mutiny and does the Orion neck pinch? I mean, the Orion face slap. There we go.
Yeah, the Orion face slap. So that the picture that Adam threw up last week of our shuttle is going to feature in this coming weekend's shoot. So we're working on that, and then over the next month or so, we're going to be shooting just about everything that doesn't happen aboard the Challenger. Trying to get it all done now. And then in the spring, we got to get our set built and get everything else shot out. So, I mean, we're well on our way. It's
Which
looking really good.
I am looking into getting out to you guys for at least some of that shoot.
I sure hope you can make it, man, because
Me
God,
too.
we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. So,
Very much hoping I can get out there.
Oh, that would be so cool. But we're really excited. Maybe we can talk a little more.
Yes, after the show.
In depth on yeah, definitely.
We can do this. But
Yes.
let's see. The Inhumans. Isn't that this Friday?
Is it?
I'm not sure.
Or is it next Friday?
Haven't they already given up on that?
Yeah.
They keep saying that, and what
I've
saw in
seen
the
no
trailer,
evidence. I went looking to see if it was, proof that it's canceled, and there is nothing actually supporting that it was canceled
right.
for season 2, I should say.
Well, we'll see. Unless they went back and tweaked things since the IMAX premiere that they did, which what they were thinking, I don't know. It's a TV show. You don't show TV shows on IMAX.
No, and I guess they got reamed for it, but
They did.
But it looks fun. It doesn't look like the best Marvel thing out there. It definitely doesn't, but it does look interesting and it looks fun.
Let's see. Punisher comes out middle of next month. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a little bit of news right before we go out there, because I don't know how many people heard this. It's floating around out there. ABC wanted to cancel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Disney would not let them.
Interesting.
Good for
Ooh.
Disney.
Disney rocking it. Now, ABC moving them to Fridays, giving them basically this is where you're
Death
going to
slot.
die.
That's how NBC killed Star Trek.
Yep,
Stuck
and
them on
that's how
Friday
they're going to
nights.
try to kill Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But you know what? If they could tie it up in 5 seasons, and if they can walk away with a cohesive story and all that kind of stuff, and I have no problem with that. But we'll talk a little more next week. Hopefully, we'll be a little more. I
No,
can
we
read up
need
on that.
6 seasons in a movie.
They just need to bring those characters back into the films.
Right.
But we'll come back next week. We'll talk a little after the 3rd episode of Discovery comes
we need
out.
Trip to come back.
He's dead. Let it go.
No!
Let's see. Oh, nope, that's not gonna be out by the next time we're on. The Star Wars trailer will not have dropped because we will be back before that drop. Right before that drops, right?
New trailer.
Yep.
When do we get a new poster yet? The actual official poster.
Probably right around the same time. Usually that all starts popping up right at the same time. About the 2-month range. So we're looking at the trailer, then we'll start getting posters, and we'll start seeing commercials. I want to know what's going on. I could have sworn Justice League was coming out this year. Is it not?
I think so.
I've seen nothing on TV for the Justice League. I've seen Thor commercials. I've seen other stuff. I have not seen anything for Justice League. But that's neither here nor there. So next week,
scheduled to be released November 17th.
Yeah, see, that's not that far away.
Well, there's been trailers. We've been seeing quite a bit on that front, but maybe they're
I think the media blitz is right around the corner.
Well, it's getting some really good reactions in some of the early screenings and some of the test screenings they've done. So I am looking forward to that. We'll talk more about this, and I'm sure other stuff will come out over the next week. And like always, we are not a news show. We are a bunch of geeks who sit down and just analyze the crap out of things for no reason.
Like people do.
Yes, and
How we
also keep your
roll.
eyeballs. Right now, the geekez.com will be live within the next, I would hope, 7 days. It will be a different type of geek website. There will be no clickbait.
We're only a month from Thor.
Only a month from Thor. I promise, there will be no clickbait articles. If there's something in the article worth reading or something worth reading, we're going to put it right in the title, or we will warn you that there will be spoilers. I am never going to sit there and say, you'll never believe, or guess what happens, and none of that will happen. So
that's no fun.
Nah, we're not going to do that. Every other geek website does that crap, and it's usually a crap article. I'm not going to do it.
He's not wrong.
And
Shocking
there will
revelation.
be, and hopefully I can start, we can get the people reading it and joining in and interacting with it, because I am going to have a clickbait of the week and the clickbait of the month thing on the website that people can either submit, or we'll go in, find them, and we'll put them in there, and then we can vote on them at the end of the week as to which was the most clickbaity article we could find, and we're going to start calling these people out on these things. Because I'm done with it. I'm tired of these guys. Comic book resources, looking at you. But
we're gonna have a time with that, because even legitimate news agencies are using clickbait.
oh yeah, I don't care, dude. CNN, Fox News, Breitbart, the Daily Kos, Vox, whatever you want to throw up there. Slate is really good for that one. Anybody, just throw it up. Clickbait of the week.
That's gonna.
That's
be
as political as
fun.
we'll get, though. Is in the clickbaity stuff. We're not going to do any other politics.
No, we just rip on clickbait.
We'll just
Firefly.
rip the clickbait.
Yeah, Firefly's like, and the winner gets designated for a proper verbal shellacking.
No, actually, because I am planning on looking into getting swag made up. I have been looking around and like
I think
cups and
I think he's
t-shirts.
talking about.
How
the,
about a hand with a great big middle finger? We'll
There you
call it
go.
the
We'll have that one.
Flying
Ooh,
finger
like
of
the-
fate, man.
Yes. The golden bird. That's what we'll get. The golden bird. But I promise you, no clickbait articles. We'll be
It'd be-
straightforward right from the get-go.
It'll be an actual bird that's flipping
Yes.
you off.
Yes. The middle wing.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll sculpt one up.
But if you're tired of clickbait, head over to the Geek EZ, because we'll sit there and we'll get the news to you. We'll tell you cool things about things that's coming on, but we're not going to sit there and title it so you have to click on it, and then you get there and you're like, what? This is nothing. It's a non-story. Like the whole Avatar kids. Oh my god, that was so stupid. They're revealed. They literally said that. The Avatar kids revealed. And it's just the actors sitting there in a picture. It's like, this has nothing to do with this is a bunch of kids. Idiots.
And you've and now I'm imagining Jean Grey flipping someone off.
Yes. The Phoenix.
That's a different golden bird.
You know what I want to talk about next week? James Cameron. Just because. James Cameron. Because he doubled down on his comments about Wonder Woman and other stuff, and then he's talking about Avatar, and he's talking about the Terminator films and stuff. I have no problem with the Terminator film rebooting, even though, or whatever, but the Avatar stuff, and yeah. I don't know. We'll talk about it. His issue with Wonder Woman still blows my mind. But we'll talk about that next week. But this is it. We're out of here. Say good night, boys.
Good night, boys.
Pasta la vista,
Nighty night.
baby.
Did we lose Alistair? Oh, okay. There he is.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us at the Geek EZ. We have some big changes coming down the road, but to find out about them, you have to hit that subscribe button. You could also follow us on Facebook and Twitter to find out what's new and what's coming down the road. So do us a favor, subscribe.